Hi, I'm Aiden McGuire, and this is my senior project. Just to get started, I was born on June 12th, 2001 in Owasso. I live with my family, who is my grandmother, Jeannie, my parents, Joelle and Patrick, my sister, Riley, and her son, Dakota, who I'm sure some of you have heard already. Just brief what I like to do. I like singing, acting, and playing video games, and I like my friends. My resume and cover letter. My resume is, I actually didn't even write it for this. I wrote it for when I applied for a job. So it has all my experience on it. I worked as a babysitter over the summer for 5 kids for 10 hours a day, which was a trip. I worked as a server for my church, like meal server. We did like dinners and benefits and stuff. I listed my education. I listed Lansing Community College because that's where I'm doing the 5th year program through. And then my cover letter I wrote to a website called Kavoko, which is a voice acting website, because that is what I want to do. So I wrote about my experience with choir and my experience with drama and how I have to like train my voice to be able to do that kind of stuff. And that's just a picture of me. My career goals, obviously I want to be a voice actor. There aren't a lot of pictures that can represent that because it's your voice. So I put in a microphone and a recording booth and Goku from Dragon Ball Z, because as I'll get to later, his voice actor is one of the people that inspires me a lot, and I want to be the kind of person that if you see that, like, you recognize who the voice is. I want to be someone who you can recognize by their voice. My job, I work at Rancho Grande, downtown Durand, right next to 206. I have to say that so that you all know where it is. I am a cook, and I clean, and I close the restaurant, and I do dishes, so I run the place. I worked there for going on 6 months now. That resume that I had is what I applied to with here, and I didn't even have a chance to write a cover letter for that because I got a call back in about 2 days. And that's just some of the food we have, so y'all should come. My interview with a professional I did with Mr. Schmidt. I was originally going to do it with someone that you gave me the information of because I want to be a voice actor and you know one. But I realized, you know, a voice actor doesn't really pay a lot of good money. So I need to have a backup plan. And so when I was thinking of people that I could interview, I thought to interview Mr. Schmidt, because Mr. Schmidt has inspired me a lot, because he's one of the teachers that I've really enjoyed having a class in. Not anything against you, but I really enjoy algebra. I think it's fun. I'm not good at it, but you know, that's kind of what the education is for. So I just asked him some questions about like what I could expect to make in the first year, like how it affects his family life. And honestly, it seems like a really good job because, you know, you get pretty much every day we have off. Teachers also get off, except for like professional development days. So if I can't, if I can't become a voice actor, I would like to be a math teacher, like a high school algebra teacher. My inspirational person is Sean Schemmel, who is the voice of Goku in the American dub. And I am inspired by him a lot because he is just a genuinely nice person. He doesn't view himself as a celebrity, he views himself as just a normal person who sometimes gets interviewed. He is very nice to all of his fans, and he interacts with them like people instead of fans. And I know that like most of you probably don't know who he is, but like in the voice acting community, you can recognize this guy just from his voice because he does so much. And that's who I want to be. I want to be someone who, like, I want to voice a character in like a big cartoon that like everyone knows my voice. That's my dream. This is my PSA, which is about LGBT representation in media. And if you could play that. If there's audio issues again, I
don't know. We got this.
Actor that appeared on television who belonged in that community was Peter Panama in 1972 on a show called The Corner Bar. And for reference on that, on how long that actually took, the first ever TV broadcast was in 1928. So nearly 50 years later, the first LGBT character. In 2018, out of all the characters that were on television, only 6.4% of them actually fell into somewhere in the LGBT community. Queerbaiting is acting like there's going to be LGBT representation in the show and then not following through with it. And the reason I have that picture up there is because that's an example, because he was promoted to be a love interest and then was killed off before he even appeared. And Bury Your Gays falls in the same category. It's a trope where after like a happy event, like a wedding, they'll kill off a gay or LGBT character just to avoid controversy, which ends up causing more controversy because that's not a cool thing to do. So these stereotypes, tropes, and lack of representation can affect those watching it, specifically youth who identify it, because it can somehow teach them that like what they're experiencing is wrong because it's not represented healthfully in what they watch. So how can we change this? There's not much you can do specifically, but you can spread awareness. Petition shows that have positive representation to be continued. Petition shows that don't to either stop that or be canceled. That's all you can really do as a person. This is a lot longer. So, that's it. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
What happened to you? Can you do escape?
There it is. There we go. Okay, so this is my vision board. Most of you will recognize that car because it is the car that I drive now. Hello?
Just keep talking.
Okay, I have it as the car that I have now because I don't really care about the kind of car I drive, so I'm fine with just driving a minivan for the rest of my life so long as it keeps working. I have a family on there because that's another big goal of mine, is that's what I want to have. I want to have a family someday. I have a cat because I have had dogs my entire life. There's never been a point in my life where I haven't had at least one dog living in my house, and I think it'd be nice to have a cat. I have him on there again, and then that's Goku's Japanese voice actor, and again, that's just what I want to do, and those are examples of people that I want to be like. And I also have that on there just because I like video games and I'd like to keep playing them when I get old. And my letter to my family. I know it's technically supposed to be towards my parents, but my sister and my grandma also helped raise me a lot. I love you guys a lot. You guys have helped me through so much stuff. You guys have helped me through my diagnosis of depression and anxiety. You guys accepted me when I came out to you as bi. And Dad, I was really worried that you weren't going to. Because you were in the middle of training to be a deacon, and you were very, very deep in your religious education, and I was worried that you weren't, but you accepted me with open arms. I love you both so much. And I want to thank you for all that you've taught me. Thank you. And Grandma, you helped raise me too, because right after I was born, Mom went back to school and Dad had work, so you would come over from Swartz Creek every day just to watch me and Riley. And now you live with us and you cook us dinner and you do our laundry. You fall apart without you. We can't function without you. And Riley couldn't make it today. But I wanted to let her know that I love her very much, because it was really scary when she moved out, because I knew I was going to miss her a lot, and we didn't get along for a really long time. And then right when we started getting to get along, she left, but she's back now, and I'm just really glad that she's in my life. I love you guys. So this is my Golden Eagle article. I wrote mine about Jordan Smith and Gale, and that was really beneficial to me because I don't know Jordan that well, and it was a really good way to get to know someone that I didn't know that well. And I had to interview him, and I got to talk to his friends, and it was really cool. And Sierra wrote my article about me, which I really appreciate. It was nice because I also didn't really know Sierra, and it was nice to talk to her, and now we're friends. My favorite essay is I Love You. And as you can, if you know me, there's about a 90% chance that I've said this to you. I genuinely mean it every time I say it. When I was asking Trev if I could do this, she thought that I was saying that it had lost meaning to me, but it is the opposite. every time I say this, I truly mean it. And I say it to everyone I know. So anyone that's here today, I want you to know that I love you and I care about you. My close good friends. My friends and I don't really take a lot of pictures unless they're stupid. So there are most of those. That's Emma at Taco Bell, one of the first times we ever hung out. I literally have no idea where this picture of Melanie and Natalie were taken. That was from homecoming, and that was my picture with Natalie in here a couple years ago when we first started hanging out. And I don't know that man, but I just want to let you know that you are all my friends as well. And if you ever need someone to talk to, ever, literally, I'm always available and I care about all of you. Any questions? Yes. Yes, I love That's my nephew Dakota. Yes.
Your PSA, you said one of the things was increasing awareness. Is
Yes.
there a way that you can use your voice acting and that and proactively?
Yeah, actually, I did some voice acting in the PSA that I did. It just didn't really work because the audio wasn't working. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel that I'd love to spread awareness with. I mean, I use it for dumb stuff now, but like in the future, I'd like to use it for helping spread awareness. Adam.
What are some popular shows right now that accurately represent the LGBTQ community?
There's a show on Netflix called One Day at a Time that is a remake of an older show, and the one of the main characters, the daughter, is a lesbian, and she's represented very well because she doesn't really fall into any stereotypes, and that's just a part. It's not her character. That's just who she is, which is the point of LGBT representation, is that they don't need to be personified by that. That's just who they are. But that show has actually been canceled, so that's why I mentioned petitioning to get shows with good representation to continue.
Any more questions?
Oh yeah.
You talked about how there's 6.4% of people in the industry that actually identify as LGBT.
No, that's characters that are actually in TV.
Oh, okay.
That's out of all the characters that were shown on TV, recurring characters, only 6.4 are
Do you
identified.
think there's anybody in the industry that doesn't identify as it due to the fear of segregation or stuff like that because of how the industry is, or?
I think that's possible. Obviously it's definitely more leaning towards segregation against, but I guess it's possible that you could feel segregated against because there's such a push to include representation, but that's not the goal. The goal is just to have equal representation.
That's a good place to stop. Let's give them a hand.